an amazing day here at VCOP-21, from the animal-free musical instruments to using AI to vegan dog food, 10 days to make big change to a vegan, climate healers courses and book launches, and we have more to come. And I'm Rebecca Allen, your MC, your Climate Healers MC, and we're at the 21st Vegan Convergence of the Peoples. Our guest is Dona Sauerberger, daughter of the late Jean Robert Bayard, who wrote the book, the great book, think it's great, How to Think If You Want to Change the World. And her son, the late loving Stephen Sauerberger, was editor of his grandmother's amazing book. Donna is passionate about spreading wisdom in her mother's book, giving free books away, giving workshops, and we're going to put it in the chat how to reach you, Donna. But also, I'm just going to tell people on the web, it's magissa.org, Magissa. She has the books for you, and she hosts free workshops too. So thank you. Because she sees how to change, how we can transform our world, I'm very glad to introduce you to Donna. Transform yourself and transform the world. Yay.
Very good. Thank you so much. And this has been an amazing day. Both days I've just been transported. So I'm hoping that what I'm going to bring was just add a little bit of to the cherry. And in the links, you should, the chat, you will get a link. And for those who are not here, I have a QR code, and this is to my handout. And so a lot of the things I'm talking about are going to be on here. And while I'm holding this up, I just want to send a message to Mark, who's thinking of doing a hunger strike to make people more aware and convince them to make a change. I'm going to be talking toward the end of this about how people can become convinced and change their minds. Just to give you something to think about as to whether a hunger strike would be effective. And so before we talk about transforming our world, let's talk about transforming ourselves, starting by building beliefs about yourself and the world around you, beliefs that support you. So I want you to think, this is not going into the chat, but I want you to think of a belief that you have that pulls you down. And then think about a belief that could replace it and support you and lift you up. And, don't worry about whether either of them is true. That we're going to talk more about later about whether things are true or not. Just write the belief that pulls you down and the belief that could replace it to support you. Write down them both. And then I want to talk a little bit about beliefs. Because our beliefs shape our perception of facts. And I'll talk a little bit about that, how that happens. And they tend to become reality because we impose our beliefs on what we perceive, and our beliefs can affect the outer world. All of us have beliefs that lift us up and beliefs that bring us down. And if we believe we can't do something, the chances that we're going to be able to do it are pretty small. Salish gave us a beautiful example just a few hours ago about his belief that the world can become vegan. And if we believe that that's not possible, it's not very likely to happen. It's much less likely to happen. So if we approach others with the belief that they are evil and they have bad intentions, it's more likely that they're going to react to us less favorably than if we believe that they're good people with good intentions. So our beliefs can affect everything around us. Now, I'm going to give you some examples of beliefs that bring us down. And as I tell you these beliefs of my mother and me, I want you to put into the chat, and I think it's going to be, if you go into the chat, it's going to be, is it called questions? What's it called? Questions for speakers. Yeah. So if you put it into there, I want you to put in there what would be a good belief, or a belief that would lift us. I'm going to give you examples of beliefs that pulled us down. I want you to put into the chat, what could we have believed that would lift us up, that we could replace these beliefs with? So the first one is, after my son died, my youngest son, Stefan, died, I struggled with the belief that he'd still be alive if I had just done something. If I had done something different, if I had done this, if I had done that, he'd be alive today. That was my belief. And it was a major part of the grief that I went through, besides missing him, of course, and grieving for his loss. It was that belief that really made it tough. Now, the other belief is my mother, she was arrested for blocking the animal lab at Stanford because, they were doing research on animals that was not humane. And she was arrested with the others, and the others paid their fine and went home. And she said she wanted to go to trial because she thought she could convince the jury that her action was justified. And when they convicted her, she felt despair. She thought of all the years that she had been advocating and thinking she could think of no reason that they would convict her other than that they're evil. Um, the fact that they weren't there to judge whether she was justified, they were there to judge whether she did the deed, and she said she did the deed. So, but for her, she could think of no reason that they would do that other than that they were evil. And she did not want to be part of the human race. She wanted to die. She willed herself to die. Fortunately, she lived another 20 years, and all she managed to do was give her a really bad case of painful shingles. But that she was several years in despair because of that belief that the human race is evil. So, do we have any beliefs that that would have supported us instead of that?
Donna, we've enabled the chat so people can write directly into the chat.
Well,
Hopefully it will support
they're
you.
going to write it in the question thing.
Okay. Has anybody written in the question thing yet?
So I'm going to say there are no questions for speaker, but I think we're having a little technical challenge as to whether or not we're going to open up the chat. In the
Oh.
meantime,
Well, rather
I will
than
be.
Well, I see a
I w-
question in there. Okay,
Oh,
thank you,
good.
Danny, and thank you, Allison. So yes, I think we're comfortable to open the chat. Thank you, Allison, for that option. I just, it takes me a bit to change, uplift me when there's a change in the technical. One of the questions that went to the questioner was, uplifting would be if there was a message in the light and rainbows that said you are free of that.
So the belief would be that I am free of that.
You're free of
Um,
that feeling like you are responsible.
Oh, so the belief would be I wasn't responsible. I did everything I could. Yeah,
Yes.
great.
Thank you.
Any other beliefs that could lift us up instead of filling us with despair and guilt and pain?
I have one.
Yeah.
What happens when you feel rejected by an individual?
No, I'm sorry. I want a belief that
Oh, a
I
belief.
could adopt. Yeah. I
Okay.
want a belief that would replace the belief that I was responsible for my son's death and my mother's while I'm at it, by the way.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I got it backwards. Okay.
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 Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
No problem. I'm glad you're.
I don't see any others right now. How about the belief that I was guided to do everything in just the right way and I wasn't in control?
Ooh, I'm sorry, BJ, but that just filled me with such peace and calm. Could you say that again? The belief that I was guided
In just the right way to do just the right things. Yeah.
Oh, that's powerful. What a powerful belief. Thank you. Any others?
Okay, here's one. I wish I had courage to go to the vegan. Oh, well, this, I'm not sure this will help you with that one, but I'll read it
I
anyway.
have a belief that I want to go to the vegans.
It might. I wish I had courage to go vegan sooner, 20 years ago when I first found out about it.
All right.
Okay,
Well,
so that's
thank you
one of
guys.
the,
I think you get the idea that
yes,
there are
yes.
beliefs that pull us down and we can replace them with beliefs that lift us up. So what I'm going to do is ask you to take a minute.
Okay.
And this is not going into the chat. This is just for you. Write it down wherever. my husband, I never write anything on paper, I write into my phone. But anyway, write down a belief that's pulling you down. It doesn't have to be as dramatic as, as that you killed your son, or, that people are all evil. Something that pulls you down, and then a belief that would lift you up. Um, some of our beliefs that pull us down is that we're incapable, we're unworthy, we're undeserving of happiness. Like my mother said, people are evil or greedy. And beliefs that can support are that we are capable, we are worthy and deserving of happiness, and people are kind and generous. So I want you to think about a belief that pulls you down and a belief you could replace that with that would lift you up. So I'll just give you a little bit. All right, that probably wasn't enough time, but hopefully you can do it as we go. Because I am actually a certified mind reader, and I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Donna, you can't change your belief, or I can't change my belief because my beliefs are based on facts. I'm a rational person, and what I believe is true. How many are not thinking that? Oh, I see no hands. It's either you couldn't reach for the hand thing fast enough, or we've all thinking that. Oh, David doesn't think he's very good. All right. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how rational are we, and whether the best way to convince someone that they're wrong and that you're right is to share the facts that are the basis of your belief. Our brains are hardwired to despise conflicting beliefs, cognitive dissonance. So, as we struggle to think about what to believe, is this true or is that true? And we finally come to a belief, it hates things that conflict with that belief. And the stronger the belief becomes, the harder it is to counter it. Your brain will filter out information that doesn't fit with your belief, and it will select things that do fit in with your belief. So it's not that what you believe is true, it's that it's true because you believe it. Has anybody not had this experience that you go and you experience something with a friend or a colleague or somebody, and you both have the exact same experience, or you read the exact same book, or you watch the exact same movie, and you come out with totally different perceptions of what happened? How many has never had that experience? David, put your hand up if you've never had that happen to you. Again, either you can't reach the hand thing fast enough, or everybody here has had that experience. And what's behind that is that our brains are watching the same information. We're gathering the same facts, and we're picking things that fit into our beliefs, and we're kind of ignoring anything that doesn't fit in with our beliefs. So if you have a strong belief, facts against it actually can strengthen it. If I believe I have to eat meat in order to live, and that's really strong, and you come at me with facts that show that's not true, not only will I reject them, it strengthens my belief. So be careful when you try to convince people with facts, because if it's a really strong belief, it will actually strengthen their belief that that's not true. Now, the nice thing is that if you have a belief that pulls you down and you want to replace it with a belief that lifts you, once you commit yourself to that belief, your brain is your friend. It will help you find all the facts that support that new belief, and it will reject the things that say, hey, actually, that's not true. So we will have facts, we can find facts to support whatever our belief is. So all you need to do is truly commit to truly believing this belief that supports you, and your brain will filter your perception. It will create your truth, and it will affect you and your health and your well-being and the world around you. Now, at the end of VCOP, I'm not going to say the time because it's going to be different for everybody, but 5 minutes before the end of today, I'm going to do a little exercise to help establish and confirm your belief. And in the meantime, speaking of beliefs, we are hardwired. We have a hormone, oxytocin, that makes us generous, kind, trustworthy, to people who we consider to be us. That same hormone makes us stingy, distrustful, and hostile to them, the people we think is outside of our little sphere, our us. And we assume that people in our sphere are generous. I wish we had time to share some of the great research. I mean, some of these were the kids that are randomly assigned to two groups. And then they did a little experiment and showed that the kids thought that the people randomly knew it was randomly assigned to the other group. They thought that those kids would be not generous. They didn't want to share with them. And, so this is innate. This is in us. Now, again, there's a workaround. We can expand who is us so that we can feel compassion and love for them. And it would change our world, our beliefs about people and things around us. I was able to do this, excuse me, in my mother's book, in Dr. Robert Bayard's, Jean Robert Bayard's book, is an exercise to go through, and I'm going to go through it with you, to help you realize that the enemy, the people and the others, are actually like ourselves, and consider them to be part of our group. And so when I was able to do this, it just filled me with calm, and I could hear the bad news, the news about the evil things that are being done, and be determined to fight them, but without hate and anger. And I can't tell you what a difference it made, because I used to be, it's been about 5 or 6 years that I've, walked around with anger and hate. And now I hear the same kind of news, or even worse, and I don't have those feelings. And, I forget his first name, Brooks, wrote a book. All this is on your handout that I gave you the link to, which again is here. And in that book, it talks about how you are healthier when you don't feel all this anger and hate in you. Excuse me. And also, it makes us more powerful and influential. Because who would you listen to more? Who would you trust and want to learn more from? Somebody who trusts and respects you, wants to understand you, or someone who thinks you're evil, you're stupid, and you don't understand, and they don't understand you, or even want to understand you? Which of those are you going to be listening to? There's a wonderful book, and again, it's on the handout, Diffusion of Innovations. I was trying to change my profession because a couple of blind friends of mine were killed crossing a street. I teach people who are blind how to cross streets and get around, and they were using techniques that we teach or taught. And I tried that was 35 years ago, and I was 30 years trying to change the profession, to change the way we teach street crossings. And what's my place here? Sorry about that, guys. Anyway, people will cling to what they believe. And again, the stronger the belief is. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. So in this book, I highly recommend it. It's Diffusion of Innovations, the 5th edition, and it will help you understand how to change, what can make people adapt new ideas. And one of the experiments in there, or one of the studies that they did, was to find out how did doctors adopt the use of tetracycline. And it wasn't because of research. It wasn't because there were journals and there were authorities saying that it was a good thing. They did it because their friends, people who they considered to be like them, tried it, liked it, shared it, and that's why they adopted it. Not because someone, authority who would be an other, told them to do it, but somebody who they feel like is themselves did it. So having the belief that you are on their team, they are on your team, you respect each other, you want to learn more from each other, helps them be more open to your ideas. So, and Braver Angels is by the way, I am very sorry about my name. I asked yesterday for you guys to change it, and I can't change. Maybe I can change it now that I'm a presenter. Let's see if I can change it, because it says Maud. Sounds like the show Maud, and
We can
it's
change that for you.
because, thank you. Could you just take out the Maud? I was moderating a workshop earlier today, yesterday, for Braver Angels, and that's an organization that really helps people to. The workshop I was doing was how to disagree, skills for disagreeing better. And what they point out is that if you want to be heard, you first need to connect and make the other person feel heard and understood by listening and acknowledging what they say. And then maybe they're going to be more likely to want to listen to what you have to say. And again, with my certification in mind reading, I know what you're thinking. Donna, how can I be a part of a group or consider myself to be on the same plane with somebody who is evil, an enemy? And so now we're going to start the process to help you understand and even love your enemy. I will have to say, I told you briefly before that when I finally learned to do it, it just makes me feel so good. Again, I can hear the very, very bad news, and I can be determined to do something about it and make it stop. But I don't do it with a feeling of anger and hate. And it just feels so good. And I'll have to say that it was easier to extend that love, that understanding, and a feeling like we're together on this, honey, with the man who intentionally ran over my older son, put him in a coma with brain damage. It was easier for me to love him than it was to love our leaders who are doing things that just seem to me like, oh, how could anybody do that if they weren't evil? But once I realized, no, they're not evil. They're good people, just like me. It was worth, let me put it this way, it was worth the effort to do this. So we're going to go through this process right now. The process is outlined in the handout that you have in the chat and that I showed you the QR code for. The first thing is to look at what is this other person doing that's so bad? And then look to yourself. Have you ever done anything like that? Has your side ever done anything like that? You know, if you can't be specific, like you've never spilled oil into the Gulf of Mexico, you can be more general. Like, have you ever been careless? Have you ever been greedy? Have you ever, make it a general thing rather than specific if you can't put yourself in that situation. And I'm going to ask you to go through this process, and I'm going to share with you how I went through the process. And in this case, the enemy, the people I'm trying to love. And again, at this point, it comes real quick, by the way, just a little hint. if you can do this with the people that are hard to do it with, after a while it gets easy. I don't even have to think about it. I fight what they're doing, but I do it with love and compassion. I just want to add one more thing. I was talking about this with a friend the other day, and she was saying, "I can't do that, Donna. I'm scared of this person. This person is threatening my life, and I can't go through this and feel love." And I want to say that actually you can. First of all, I assured her, you still need to take care of yourself. You need to protect yourself. You need to do whatever you need to do to take care of yourself. And that includes, whatever action she might take to protect herself. But while she's doing that, she can do it with love for the person. I mean, was it Gandhi that said, hate the sin, but love the sinner? And the Tibetan monks, when they're being imprisoned and tortured by the Chinese, some of them said that the thing that they worried about most was losing the love that they had for those Chinese as they were being tortured. Now, that doesn't mean that they were going to say, hey, come and torture me. They're going to try to escape. They're going to try to stop it. They're going, I don't know, they're going to do what they need to do to protect themselves, but they do it while loving the other person. So with that, let's launch. The people I have chosen to use as an example, oh dear, I have a little story here. So Stefan had anorexia, and it was a vegan. He was a vegetarian since he was 12 and realized that hamburgers are somebody's muscles. And when I told him that was true, he said, oh, I'll eat chicken. I'm not going to eat hamburgers anymore. I said, oh, honey, chicken is somebody's muscles. Whoa, I'm going to eat fish. Oh, Anyway, so he's been a vegetarian since he was 12. And when this happened, he was in his early 30s. He had been a vegan for a couple of years at that point. And there's only 2 programs for people with anorexia, rehab programs here in Maryland. Both of them did not accept vegans at the time. They considered veganism to be a symptom of the disease. And so we found a program outside of Maryland. He went there about a month and a half, got so much better. And, just yesterday, I don't know if you guys get this, memories from today, from years past, and because the picture from yesterday was of Stefan with 2 of the people from that rehab program. They loved him there, and he became friends with them. When he needed more rehab, more help, we found out that place had never been paid because his insurance did not pay for anything out of state. He had to go to one of the 2 in the state. Excuse me, I'm going to sneeze. All right. So, and they did not accept him because he was a vegan. So he died a couple of years later of anorexia. And so last year I decided to make sure that doesn't happen to anybody else. So I contacted the programs to see if they still had that policy, and one did not. One took vegans. The other one said, well, no, our patients have to eat chicken, or I forget what the other thing was, chicken or fish or chicken or eggs or something. They had to eat something to be helped there. So I went to my legislators and whatnot, and I'm still in the process of making a change there. So I'm going to use those 2 people as, the administrators of that program as my enemy and go through this process. So what did they do that was bad? Well, those little people refused to allow my son to come and benefit from their program. I mean, who would do that other than somebody who's evil? So the first thing in the process is, what did you do that was similar? And when I thought about it, I just had to smack my head, because I've told this enough times that I'm hoping I can tell it without becoming emotional again, because I'm so embarrassed by it. But back when I was a student, I was learning to teach people who are blind how to get around, how to cross streets and whatnot. And we were sent for a month to a little camp where we had these little blind kids come in, and we were going to teach them was my first teaching experience. And some parents had the temerity to bring their blind child to that camp, and the child had a cognitive disability. Now, when I tell that, I just like cringe, like, come on, Donna, get a life. And we stayed in the same house as these people. And my instructors said, she doesn't belong here. This is for blind children who don't have any other disabilities. And we were staying at the same place. And I remember sitting in the living room. Thank goodness I did not have the power that these people at the rehab center had. I didn't say anything or do anything, but I do remember thinking this and looking at them and thinking, who do you think you are coming here? Sorry, guys, don't think like that now. But I do remember at one point thinking that. So the next step in this is, why did you do that? So I thought, well, why did I do that? That is so not me. Well, I had role models who did that. Basically, my instructor said that she didn't belong there. And also, I didn't know how to teach blind kids, much less a blind kid who had a disability. So I didn't have much confidence. So the next step in this is, after you figure out why did you do that, what would make you stop? So I thought, well, if I didn't have role models that, said she didn't belong there, it never would have crossed my mind. I would have just, taught her. But also, if I had more confidence in how to teach blind kids, and the confidence to know that I could probably figure out how to do it with, if they have additional disabilities, I wouldn't have thought that. And then I thought further, if I had the confidence to know that what those instructors were saying was so inappropriate, it was wrong. But I didn't have the confidence to know to tell my instructors, guys, that was wrong. So what it would have taken to make me stop is having more confidence in myself and role models that behave themselves. And so when I think about these people, who denied Stefan access to the rehab program, I think, well, maybe they don't have confidence. They don't know how to work with somebody who's vegan. All they know is how to, I don't know what all they do. And by the way, that is one reason that people do not change their beliefs, is because if they have a belief that's based that their prestige, their authority, their people look up to them because they have knowledge about this belief or this rehab program or whatever, and then someone comes knocking on the door and says, hey, the thing that you're teaching, the thing you took so long to learn, and the thing that people look up to you for, it's wrong. I told you that I tried to change the way that we teach blind people to cross streets. And I actually had a professor at one of the programs that train our instructors say he was going to go to the lawyer and sue me for slander because I was questioning what was written in the textbooks. So people who are invested in whatever the belief is, and that the people, other people look up to them because they have good knowledge about this belief, are going to find it really hard to change. So that may be part of what's keeping these people from letting vegans into their program, as well as confidence in knowing what to do with them, and also role models. So I was so glad to see that this happened about 7 or 8 years ago, or maybe sooner. But anyway, I'm so glad to see that now more programs are opening up for vegans who have anorexia, and we're working to change the guidelines that are in the. There's a nutritionist. Anyway, so we're trying to make changes so that they have information, they have role models that they can look to. So anyway, we're going to go down. We figured out that Donna has done exactly what they did. Not, I didn't have the power to deny anybody, but I would have if I could. And we find out why I did that. I wasn't confident. I had role models. What would make me stop is to get more confidence in it and not be afraid. And this next part is my favorite part. So I want you to put, if you have a pencil or anything, put it down. And I'm sorry, I should have told you that I want you, let me stop right here and ask that you please think of an enemy, someone who you consider to be evil or, you know, is causing you trouble. And I want you to go through these same steps. Take a moment and think about what are they doing that's so bad? And have you ever done anything like that? And like I said, if you can't think of anything specific, like you've never beat your spouse or you've never, I don't know, whatever the other person is doing, and you've never done anything like that, pull back and get more general. Have you ever been trying to control somebody? Have you ever been greedy? Have you ever kind of, turned a corner? Have you done anything like that? So I want you to take a moment, and this is not for the chat, but just put it down on your paper or in your phone or whatever. What did they do that was so bad? And have you ever done anything like that? I think I could see people. See people. Oh, thank you, Rebecca. Good day. PJ. Hi. How you doing? Did you finish it yet? I'm looking for heads down and coming back up saying, I'm ready. Next. All right. I don't know if I gave you enough time. Hey, you guys ready? Should we move to the next step? Okay, next step. So now that you've realized, yeah, I've done something similar, or I've done something like that, why did you do it? Give that some thought. Why did you do that? And what would have made you stop? What would you need to make you stop? EG and Allison, are you guys ready for the next one? Yeah. Okay. So here's my favorite one, part of the stage of it. We've gone through that. Okay, we've done something similar. We understand why we did it. And we can, that helps us understand why maybe that other person was doing it. And my favorite part is to say, I did that and I'm a good person. I'm a good person. Just hug yourself. I'm a good person. I did something I shouldn't have done. I wouldn't do now, but I'm a good person. And then reach out. I'm reaching out to those people who are setting those policies that kept my son from getting the help he needed. And you guys are good people. I'm going to fight you. I'm going to help you open up the doors because I found out from my legislators there's a law, which, again, I wish I had known back then because we'd have taken this to court. But I didn't know it then. So while I'm fighting this, and I am fighting this, I'm doing it with love for those people making those policies that I think killed my son. So there you go. So, as I said, when you fill yourself with love for everybody, somebody said, well, what about Hitler? Yes, I'm going to fight what Hitler did. But again, feeling it without that hate, without that anger, but feeling compassion. And it makes us healthier. It makes us more effective advocates. And I think that I am done. Let me just see if I got. Oh, no. We're not done. All right. So I hope you have written a belief that's pulling you down and a belief that can lift you. And I want you to take a look at that belief that can lift you. And I want you to use that brilliant mind that you have, that if you believe this, if you truly believe this belief that can lift you, let your mind go out and search for those facts that support that belief. Don't ignore anything that's against it. Ignore anything that will pull you down. But look for those facts and write them down. I'll give you a minute to find some facts to support the belief that would support you. Oh, I was just reading the chat. I love this. Let me just read this here. David writes, I was able to transform when I found the quote, you will never look into the eyes of someone God does not love. Wish I'd thought of that. I could have cut to the chase and not have to go through this whole process. That, combined with the realization that acceptance, unquote, does not mean approval. Oh, that's so powerful. You love them. You don't approve of what they're doing. Oh, I love it. Acceptance does not mean approval. It turned my whole belief system upside down. Oh, David, that's so beautiful. We are God's children. Of course, I'm an atheist, but anyway, I do understand. I think we have to start with our shadow. Oh, so beautiful. Beautiful, guys. All right. I think that we are finished, and I'll be opening it to questions, but I will say that please hold on to that belief, because at 5 minutes before we're finished today, I'm going to take you through a little exercise where you can envision what the world would be like if that belief was true. Not if that belief was true. That belief is true. What the world will be like if you are faithful to that new belief that supports you. So we'll do that in the last 5 minutes. Anyway, yeah, I thought I wasn't going to be able to fit this all in. I did take a lot of stuff out to make it fit, but yeah. Any questions?
Oh, come on. I don't need to be up here
Hello.
with you. No, I don't mind being, I love being up here with you. Okay, Willow, let's bring her up.
Willow, go for it.
You can turn on your camera and
All right, Willow.
Okay, well, I've been to many convergences, and it seems that this is the first time where they use a different system to have us participate.
Oh,
And
yeah. Yeah.
So I heard before you started, Donna, I heard that somebody was going to take that away, but they never did. So I'm sorry if it feels like some of us wanted to respond to you, but we're unable to.
I hear you.
Because
I've spent the last 2 days thinking, oh, hello, hello, anybody there? Yeah.
you know you were going, hello, is anybody there? And it's like, we're here,
We're here.
we're here. We just can't talk. So,
Thank you, Willow. So you were
well,
engaged, huh?
yeah, I'm an emotional person. I have too
Mm,
much emotion. I take
mm,
everything in and I go
mm.
down. So I would have wanted to talk to you some more because I really like the way you express yourself and you're
Yeah,
trying to help
yeah,
us. I
yeah.
think that it's not so much what I said. I think some of us that are vegans and activists, it's not so much what I said, but what they had said in return for me being vegan and trying to open up to have them listen to the logic and the reason and the truth. I can have truth on my side, and then it's an automatic defense mechanism. So I
Why
kind
do you
of
think
thought
that
you
is?
were,
Why
yeah.
why do you think, Willow, why do you think that is? Why are
Well,
they
I don't
pushing back?
know because when I was not vegan, I
No,
was
no, no. I don't want to hear. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead. You were not vegan.
I don't know why that is because when I was not vegan and I was still, I was not vegan, and when PETA is the first that came to me and said, "Go vegan, go vegan," I
And you said,
never, I never had a defense. I just sort of
okay,
looked around
let's
because I
okay.
wasn't ready, but I wasn't
Let me
angry at them. So I don't know why the anger that I get,
I will share some insights. In general, people are, as I said, if they have a strong belief, they're going to push away anything that's against that and strengthen that belief. So if they strongly believe they need to eat their meat or whatever, or like the professor who was going to sue me, if they are invested in the system as it is, they have a job, they're looked up to. So there are reasons that people are going to resist you, first of all. And Braver Angels really stresses that nobody's going to listen to you if they don't feel like you're listening to them. And so in the workshop skills for disagreeing better, they point out you don't bring up you got to go vegan, whatever it is that you want to your perspective, until they have felt heard. You have listened to them. You acknowledge it by not by saying, oh, well, yeah, but did you ever think, but acknowledging. So what I hear you saying is blah, 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 blah. I'm putting into a minute, an hour and a half workshop. And then and even then you don't say, hey, let me tell you what I'm telling, but you ask for their permission. Would you be interested? I have a different perspective. Would you be interested in hearing it? And if they're not, it's not going to, you can rant, but they're not ready for you. So making a connection first. And as I said, the doctors adopting tetracycline didn't adopt it because somebody came down and said, you need to adapt, etc. They did it because somebody who they felt was like them was doing it. So if you come to them, you're obviously strange because you're a vegan. I'm sorry, I was going to not bring this up, but I will anyway. I was watching a program about a, um, a, a community north of the Arctic and do whale hunting and whatever. And one of them was saying, oh, you're going to meet somebody. They're not a vegetarian, are they? And I'm thinking, why would you care? And then I realized at one point they were vilified. They were, and so, so their reaction was, stay away. We don't want to hear you. So I don't know, Willow, but I would think, first of all, connect with them before sharing your thing. And as I said, bringing facts to them, if they have a strong belief, is going to strengthen their belief. So make a connection. All right. Thank you. Zahid,
Thank you.
or Zazib.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
I can.
Thank you very much for your talk. I really appreciate it. I have a question. Um, Beliefs can be delusional. How do we make
Yes.
sure we are not being delusional?
You know, Sahib, Sazib, I don't think we'll ever know if we're delusional. I don't think we'll ever know. I don't, I've even gone so far. My middle son, um, gets really upset when I tell him, I'm not sure there is a truth because everything that we perceive comes filtered through our perceptions, which is then filtered by our brain, which is then, you know, and so I'm not sure. Let me ask you, why are you concerned that you're being delusional? Are you thinking that maybe the belief that would support you is just a delusion?
It's just that there are so many contradictory beliefs in the world. They can't all be true.
Yes. I'm wondering, can they? I'm not sure they can't all be true. Let me put it this way. Everybody has their truth. There was a quote I heard, but everybody has their truth and we need to understand or, respect their truth. So I can't help you unless maybe you're worried about that you are being delusional and that you don't want to fool. I'll tell you, I mentioned that I was an atheist. I probably shouldn't go into this, but I, for a long time, wanted to believe that there's an afterlife and that I could talk to my mother and my son again. And I still can't quite let myself go there. And maybe I'm having the same fear as you, Zasi, that I don't want to delude myself. But why wouldn't that be true? Why is that any less true than that I don't know. What is truth? And if we delude ourselves and we're happy, what's that
Well,
matter?
I mean, I think it matters what true is. I mean, if I were to jump off from a high, building, believing I can fly, and fall to my death, I think truth matters. Delusions can
It
have deadly
does.
consequences.
It does.
Um,
It does.
it does matter. You know,
Are
I
you
think it
afraid
matters.
of thinking you can fly and you can't and then you die? Not literally, but I mean, are you afraid of having a belief that is going to cause more trouble for you?
Um, no, I mean,
Hmm. Hmm.
it's complicated because it's an undeniable fact for me that I am conscious. Okay, you know, there is an experience of what it is like to be me. You know,
Hmm.
I can see
Hmm.
things, I can hear things, I can touch things, I can taste things, I can smell things. Right now, I'm looking at your, face. I'm hearing your voice. So this is an undeniable fact for me. I'm
Hmm.
aware that it might be a simulation, like in the movie The Matrix.
Could
It's
be.
possible. It's possible
You don't
that
know, do you?
I
You
don't
don't
know.
know.
Yes, it's
And I will,
possible.
excuse me, I will interrupt just to tell you, I work with people who are deaf and blind, and they can't
Mhm,
see me, they can't hear me. They are just as conscious. But anyway,
mhm.
go ahead.
But they can touch you, and they
Well,
can smell you, and they can taste you.
well, that
You know.
doesn't come to that, but anyway, yes.
But I'm just saying they have at least three sensory inputs that they can receive.
Yes.
Um, what I'm wondering about is how would I know whether solipsism is true or false?
Whether what is true or false?
Solipsism, solipsism,
Solipsisms.
solipsism,
Ellipsis.
solipsism.
I'm not familiar with it, and I think we've
Solipsism
got
is
about
um,
1 minute.
solipsism is the view that only you exist and everything else
Oh,
is not quite real.
I'm sorry, but I'm kind of down there, the Buddhists with believing that we are not here. Nothing is real. So anyway, we could probably let's plan to chat afterwards. I would love to talk with you about what's real and what's not. Yeah.
Okay, we
All
can
Thank
do
right,
you.
that.
and
Thank
Mark,
you.
yeah. Do
That's
we have time
great.
for Mark too, or is it
Yes, let's go ahead and get Mark in here because I missed him last time. And Go ahead, Mark, but keep it short because our next speaker is here. And thank you, Donna.
Okay, I think I'm
Mark,
unmuted.
you-
Okay, I'll try and keep it short. There is something called the proof of truth, which going inwards does prove objective solipsism, Sazid, for the first time. So you can directly and scientifically realize the objective frame that purifies all the contradictions into truth. But my question has more to do with limiting and lifting belief with these hunger strikes, because you mentioned them in the beginning, Donna. So I'm wondering, factoring in the fact that I could be limited and delusional, I built that into how I see hunger strikes as positive. I just want you to maybe tell me what you think. I'm saying that hunger strikes are proportional to the mega crisis that we're facing and can galvanize us like never before in a trusting spirit of self-sacrifice that can actually give us more hope than these superficial solutions, especially if somebody like Silas Rao jumps on board to the death with me. And I'm saying that if this is wrong, if this is a limiting belief, then number one, I'm inviting in your frame of reference to prove that the mega crisis is not urgent, as urgent as I think it is, and I'll get off the hunger strike immediately. And number two, if you can't do that, if you can't prove it's not urgent, then show me a better plan that doesn't involve hunger strikes, and I will definitely not do them. And also, just sensitively to anorexia, I appreciate your point of view, because that's the number one thing we say is don't go on the hunger strike if you don't have a healthy relationship with food. You have to have that sort of peace within yourself, like you're exactly teaching us now. That's the only way to go on hunger strike.
I thought of that, Mark, when you said you're going on hunger strike. I thought of my son who died of hunger. So, first of all, I do think we're in a mega. I think this deserves something huge like that. So I'm with you on that. And I forget what the other thing you said was, and I agree with you on that. What I'm thinking is, Mark, that is this going to convince anybody? And that's why I'm saying, they're going to listen to people who they think are like them. And do you think that they're going to think that this guy with a long beard dying of hunger is going to be like them? Are they going to listen to you? And so the ways that you can convince people, I don't think that going on a hunger strike is going to convince anybody. It's going to get their attention, but it may. I really doubt. My belief is based on hundreds of researchers is that they are not going to. It's not going to change their minds. Let me put it that way. Yeah.
Wow, that's some thought-provoking things, because of what Mark and all of us want is to be able to affect change. And
Yes,
it's so
and
important.
he's right that it's huge. We need to do something. I just don't know if hunger strike is going to do something. Oh, thank you, Mark.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, Donna.
My pleasure.
This has been wonderful, thought-provoking. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. I so enjoyed. I'm so glad you let me speak. Thank you.